Clint Eastwood eventually revealed the heartbreaking truth of Sondra Locke at the age of 95. Clint Eastwood, whose career has lasted over 7 decades and made him one of the most prominent actors, filmmakers, and producers in Hollywood history, was born Clint Eastwood Jr. on May 31, 1930 in San Francisco, California. Being raised in a middle-class household, Eastwood's childhood was comparatively typical. Despite this, he was frequently described as a reserved, reflective youngster who didn't instantly stand out in class. He didn't realize his love for storytelling and performing until he was older, which would later serve as the cornerstone of his illustrious career. Eastwood's early years were characterized by routine employment and a brief stint in the U.S. Army. However, these encounters gave him a sense of self-reliance, discipline, and fortitude that would eventually characterize his on-screen demeanor and directing style. Eastwood originally gained notoriety in the 1960s for his breakthrough performance in Sergio Leone's Dollars trilogy, which comprised The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly 1966, For a Few Dollars More 1965, and A Fistful of Dollars 1964. These movies introduced Eastwood's trademark man-without-a-name persona in addition to redefining the Western genre. A somber, mysterious character that enthralled audiences worldwide with his calm strength, sly intelligence, and subtle charm. With its capacity to convey deep emotion with little spoken and instead relying on subtle facial expressions, body language, and an almost magnetic screen presence, this archetype went on to become one of the most iconic images in cinematic history. His westerns were more than just amusement. They were a genre reimagining that connected with audiences of all ages by fusing raw realism, cinematic style, and moral ambiguity. As he moved from westerns to more complex American films, Eastwood kept developing as a performer and director. Movies such as Dirty Harry 1971 demonstrated his capacity to play nuanced, ethically gray characters. This time, in the genre of urban crime drama, he embodied a tough, justice-seeking police officer who disobeyed authority in his part as the title character Harry Callahan, which both generated controversy and solidified Eastwood's place as a cultural hero. Beyond acting, Eastwood's forays into directing and producing showcased a versatile ability whose storytelling skills and vision enabled him to create movies that were both artistically and commercially successful. His films, including Gran Torino 2008, Million Dollar Baby 2004, and Unforgiven 1992, were praised by critics for their compelling stories, moral complexity, and emotional depth. Eastwood's works frequently examined themes of justice, redemption, mortality, and the human condition, showcasing a deep comprehension of both social commentary and character psychology. Clint Eastwood continued to showcase his skill behind the camera with the 2019 biographical drama Richard Jewell. Following decades of proven success as an actor and director, Eastwood resorted to fact-based storytelling in this movie, telling the gripping tale of Richard Jewell, a security guard who came under intense media scrutiny after being falsely accused of a bombing during the 1996 Summer Olympics in Atlanta. Eastwood's directorial balanced suspense with a compassionate depiction of injustice by emphasizing Jewell's emotional troubles as well as the tension of the court and media environments. The film's accurate pacing, attention to historical information, and sympathetic portrayal of the main character were all praised by critics, who largely reacted favorably to Eastwood's cautious treatment of delicate subject matter. The film's ability to blend gripping drama with strong performances was demonstrated by veteran actress Kathy Bates's remarkable portrayal as Jewell's mother, for which she received nominations for both the Academy Awards and the Golden Globes. The praise for Betts also demonstrated Eastwood's ability to get his actors to provide complex, award-winning performances, even in a plot that was based on current events rather than the epics that were larger than life, for which he was frequently known. Eastwood then produced and directed the neo-Stern drama Cry Macho 2021. Continuing his experimentation with a variety of genres, he reverted to both his Western heritage and a more introspective, character-driven plot in this movie, playing a retired rodeo star who embarks on a very personal quest that incorporates aspects of introspection, redemption, and mentoring. Being the film's director, producer, and star demonstrated Eastwood's persistently hands-on style of filmmaking, which enabled him to mold the narrative to fit his unique vision. Critics gave Cry Macho mixed reviews, and despite of these attempts, some praised the film's nostalgic elements, subdued storytelling, and Eastwood's timeless on-screen persona, while others thought the plot lacked the nuance and energy of his previous masterpieces. Additionally, the movie did poorly at the box office, indicating that even a great director like Eastwood has trouble connecting with modern audiences in a shifting cinematic environment. However, the film reaffirmed Eastwood's adherence to character-focused storytelling and his readiness to play around with tone and tempo in his later work, demonstrating a preference for creative expression over financial gain. Richard Jewell and Cry Macho together demonstrate the extraordinary breadth of Eastwood's late career work, which ranges from the thoughtful, emotionally stirring universe of a neo-Stern to the rigorous fact-based suspense of a real-life judicial drama. These endeavors demonstrate not only his persistent talent as a filmmaker but also his ongoing fascination with examining moral complexity, human resiliency, and the unsung bravery of common people, landmarks that have characterized his contributions to filmmaking for more than 60 years. Eastwood has been equally impressive off-screen. He has maintained a degree of respect and appreciation that few people in Hollywood are able to attain, because of his reclusive character, modest lifestyle, and focused work ethic. Eastwood has also held public office. Most notably, from 1986 to 1988, he served as mayor of Carmel by the Sea, California, where he implemented his practical, goal-oriented style of civic governance. Despite his notoriety, Eastwood has frequently maintained an exceptionally grounded demeanor, prioritizing artistry over popularity and constantly selecting parts and endeavors that speak to him both artistically and personally. In addition to his numerous honors and recognitions, which include several Academy Awards, his lasting impact on popular culture is demonstrated by his capacity to motivate upcoming generations of actors, filmmakers, and viewers. Clint Eastwood and Maggie Johnson were married on December 19, 1953, and their partnership would endure for more than 30 years, although it would eventually be put to the strain by the demands of Eastwood's developing career and his complicated personal life. Eastwood's anchor during his early Hollywood years, when he was still attempting to prove himself as a professional actor, was Maggie Johnson, a former beauty school student. They had 2 kids together. Allison was born in 1972, while Kyle was born in 1968. Both kids grew up during Eastwood's rise to fame, which included his renowned roles in spaghetti westerns like A Fistful of Dollars and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, as well as his television breakthrough with Rawhide. After more than 30 years of marriage, Eastwood and Johnson divorced in 1984. Despite their early stability, Johnson reportedly collected between $25 and $30 million as part of their divorce settlement, which is indicative of both Eastwood's enormous fame at the time and the financial and legal wrangling that frequently accompanies high-profile Hollywood splits. Eastwood had a long-term relationship with model and stintwoman Roxanne Tunis from 1959 to 1973 and 1964. The 2 fathered a daughter, Kimber. This relationship and his marriage to Maggie Johnson overlapped, demonstrating the nuanced and occasionally contentious private life that Eastwood led despite his rising stardom in the entertainment industry. Despite later pursuing her own career in the entertainment and arts industries, Kimber would spend the majority of her childhood away from the Hollywood limelight. The bond with Tunis illustrates Eastwood's early tendency to uphold several enduring personal ties, a trend that would recur throughout his life. Actress Sondra Locke and Eastwood started dating in 1975, and their relationship gained a lot of attention in Hollywood circles as a result of their work together on several movies. Lach, who co-starred with Eastwood in a number of films, such as The Gauntlet and The Outlaw Josie Wales, became a love and business partner. It was one of Eastwood's longest and most closely watched public partnerships, lasting until April 1989. Eastwood apparently had a number of other relationships during this time, fathering at least 3 children with different women. Despite the longevity and widespread publicity, this period of Eastwood's life demonstrated his nuanced approach to romance, in which close personal ties frequently coexisted with concurrent private involvement. Scott was born in 1986, and Catherine was born in 1988, as a result of Eastwood's covert relationship with flight attendant Jaceline Reeves. For many years, this relationship stayed mostly secret. It wasn't until the children were born that it became well known. Eastwood's extensive family life, which went well beyond his public marriages and partnerships, is further exemplified by Reeves' offspring. Eastwood's propensity to keep a clear separation between his private and public lives is reflected in the discreet nature of this relationship. Following his split from Locke in 1989, Eastwood started dating actress Frances Fizer, who was well known for her roles in television and movies, even as Hollywood's media apparatus attempted to dig into every detail. This partnership resulted in the 1993 birth of a daughter named Francesca, carrying on Eastwood's paternal tradition well into his old years. In his sporadic remarks regarding their relationship, Frances Fisher has emphasized Eastwood's nuanced, occasionally aloof personal style, which reflected the austere and mysterious traits he frequently exhibited on screen. On March 31, 1996, Eastwood wed Dina Ruiz, a news anchor and television journalist. As he approached middle age, his family life took a new turn with the 1996 birth of their daughter Morgan Eastwood. But as the marriage deteriorated over time, Ruiz disclosed that the pair was living apart by August 2013, which finally resulted in an official divorce in 2014. Like many of Eastwood's relationships, this one showed his dedication to family at specific moments as well as the challenges of maintaining long-term relationships in the face of a busy work. Clint Eastwood, the renowned actor and director whose career has lasted over 7 decades, suddenly broke his long-held silence to reveal what many insiders have assumed for years at the astounding age of 95, the heartbreaking reality of his relationship with Sondra Locke, the actress and director with whom he had a more than 10-year personal and professional relationship. Eastwood's remarks were sobering and illuminating, and they were spoken with the measured tone and introspective gravity that have come to define his work. "I wish I could have handled things differently with Sondra," he remarked. "In retrospect, I see how my decisions wounded her, and I accept full responsibility for the suffering." Eastwood acknowledged the nuanced dynamics that had characterized their relationship, a blend of intense love, professional cooperation, and eventually personal disappointment. In this open statement, Eastwood's personal life and profession were greatly impacted by Sondra Locke, a successful actress best remembered for her roles in movies like The Heart is a Lonely Hunter and The Outlaw Josie Wales. The media closely examined and frequently speculated about their connection, which started in the late 1970s when Locke was making a name for himself in Hollywood. Eastwood's revelation highlights the psychological toll that their protracted and complex relationship placed on them both. Eastwood went on to say, "I didn't realize how emotionally my actions affected her." His remarks were weighed down by decades of introspection. In addition to demonstrating his regret, the statement humanizes a persona that the general public frequently views as unapproachable and stern. Furthermore, Eastwood's disclosure came decades after their final split, underscoring the enduring nature of unresolved emotions and the challenge he faced in facing his previous transgressions in public. He clarified that, "I was unaware of the full scope of what I was doing to Sondra at the time," citing the subtleties of fame, power, and individual priorities that shaped their relationship. By acknowledging these facts at such a late age, Eastwood provides a unique window into his moral convictions and sense of personal responsibility, a side of the Hollywood star that is rarely explored in interviews or biographies. This admission has an influence that goes beyond simple celebrity rumors. It emphasizes the more universal human themes of sorrow, peacemaking, and the need for closure. In addition to facing his own past, Eastwood encourages a more in-depth discussion about the ways in which private relationships interact with public life and celebrity by admitting the suffering caused by Locke. Despite the sadness in his comments, there is also a feeling of growth and learning. "By owning up to my mistakes, I hope that we can both find some sort of healing or understanding." Clint Eastwood's frank thoughts at 95 offer a compelling, albeit melancholic glimpse into the man behind the iconic on-screen image.